Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're diving into the latest sneak peek from the Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16, Episode 14. This preview focuses on Drew Sidora and her perception of some unusual energy between Brit and Shamea. As the drama unfolds in the ATL, the relationships between the ladies continue to evolve, bringing in new dynamics, subtle tensions, and unexpected observations. Let's unpack exactly what's going on in this sneak peek, what Drew is feeling, and how it could shape the group's dynamic moving forward. So, let's get into it. At this point in the season, viewers are already familiar with the underlying complexities between several cast members. Drew Sidora has often been the one to notice things that others might not bring up right away. Whether it's picking up on energy, reading body language, or simply tuning into people's tones, she tends to call it as she sees it, and this sneak peek is no exception. According to Drew, there's something she can't quite put her finger on between Brit and Shamea. It's not loud, not overt, but it's there. Drew doesn't describe it as obvious drama. Instead, she refers to it as a weird energy. That phrase, vague yet pointed, sets the tone for this moment. She doesn't accuse anyone of doing anything wrong, and she doesn't escalate the situation. Instead, she quietly reflects on the vibe she's picking up and feels like it's worth noting. Her words don't come across as instigative, more observational. But, in the world of the Real Housewives, even observations can shift the group dynamic in significant ways. Now, let's break that down a bit. What does weird energy even mean in the context of this show? For Drew, it seems to be about how two people interact, or more precisely, how they're not interacting. Maybe it's the lack of warmth in their words. Maybe it's in the avoidance of eye contact. Perhaps it's the way one of them responds with a tone that feels guarded or too polished. These are the subtle signs that Drew seems to be noticing and naming in her own way. Brit, a newer presence in the group, has been trying to navigate friendships with the cast while also making her own mark. She brings a calm energy most of the time, but that doesn't mean she's immune to tension. Shamea, who has been involved in the housewife circle for several seasons, also holds her own in conversations and tends to speak up when something bothers her. So, if there is indeed some unspoken tension between Brit and Shamea, it could stem from a clash of personalities, differing communication styles, or even things said in prior conversations that haven't been fully resolved. What's interesting here is that the sneak peek doesn't show a blow-up. There's no shouting match, no confessional-style takedown. Instead, it's subtle, which might actually make it more impactful. In these types of reality TV moments, the quiet tension can often lead to bigger moments later on. Drew pointing it out now could be planting the seed for a future conversation, whether between her and the group or between Brit and Shamea directly. The Real Housewives of Atlanta has always thrived on interpersonal dynamics. The show isn't just about glamour and events, it's about how these women relate to one another. A comment like Drew's is part of what fuels those dynamics. Her decision to call it weird energy instead of outright tension or drama shows that she's being cautious. Maybe she's just trying to process what she's sensing. Maybe she's not sure if it's her imagination. But either way, she brings it up, and that alone is a choice that can't be ignored. Another aspect to consider is how this observation might affect the way others view Brit and Shamea. Sometimes, when one cast member makes a comment about someone else, it causes the rest of the group to start paying closer attention to those interactions. It's possible that others hadn't noticed anything before, but now that Drew has mentioned it, it could prompt more scrutiny. In a group like this, where relationships can shift quickly, even subtle remarks can have ripple effects. And for viewers at home, this type of moment is exactly the kind that generates conversation. Fans will likely begin debating whether Drew was picking up on something real or projecting her own feelings onto the situation. They'll be watching Brit and Shamea's interactions more closely, replaying moments for signs of awkwardness, coldness, or passive-aggressiveness. The phrase weird energy leaves a lot open to interpretation, and that's part of what makes it so compelling. It's also worth noting how Drew's relationship with the rest of the group factors into this. She's not new to being in the middle of tension, and she's had her share of emotional moments this season. Whether she's confronting someone directly or reflecting in her confessional, Drew doesn't typically stay silent when something doesn't sit right with her. That consistency gives her comment a certain level of weight. Viewers who followed her journey know she's not one to make something out of nothing just for the sake of it. From a neutral standpoint, this sneak peek is all about perception. Drew is offering her take on what she senses, not necessarily what's been confirmed. There's no accusation, no dramatic confrontation, just a feeling. And sometimes, especially on The Real Housewives, feelings are what drive the narrative forward. We've seen many storylines on this show that began with a small comment or a moment of subtle tension. Whether this observation becomes something bigger remains to be seen, but it definitely opens the door for further exploration. What makes this particular moment stand out is the restraint. Instead of turning the moment into a conflict, Drew's tone seems reflective. She doesn't seem eager to stir the pot or push for drama. That doesn't mean things won't escalate later, but it shows that, for now, she's simply trying to express what she's picking up. This sets a different tone than some of the more explosive interactions we've seen in past seasons. It's about awareness rather than action, at least for now. Another layer to this is how Brit and Shamea respond to Drew's observation, if at all. So far, the sneak peek doesn't reveal any direct fallout or disagreement. But if one or both of them catch wind of what was said, it could spark a conversation. Will they agree that there's been weird energy between them? Or will they deny it entirely and question Drew's motives? That's something we'll have to wait and see in the full episode. This moment also reminds viewers that friendships within the group are rarely simple. There's often a mixture of loyalty, competition, misunderstanding, and history in every dynamic. Even newer cast members quickly become entangled in these layers. If Brit and Shamea are experiencing some kind of friction, even if it's unspoken, it's likely just the tip of a larger storyline. Drew's awareness of it might be the first step in bringing it to light, or it might lead to a clarification that helps them move forward. Either way, what's clear is that The Real Housewives of Atlanta continues to focus on the emotional landscape of its cast. This sneak peek, though brief, emphasizes that attention to detail. It shows that drama doesn't always come in the form of shouting matches or walkouts. Sometimes, it's in the glances, the hesitation, the way people greet each other, or don't. And sometimes, it's in how one person decides to speak up about what others haven't yet noticed. Drew's comment might seem small, but it has the potential to evolve into something much bigger. That's how many storylines on this show develop, one quiet moment at a time. Whether or not the weird energy becomes a full-blown discussion, the fact that it was mentioned on camera means it's now part of the group's shared narrative. And once something becomes part of that narrative, it's fair game for discussion, reaction, and reflection. To wrap it up, this sneak peek from season 16, episode 14 gives us another example of how emotional intelligence and social perception play a role in the Housewives universe. Drew's decision to call out the weird energy between Brit and Shamea doesn't immediately lead to conflict, but it does prompt questions. What caused the tension? Is it real or imagined? And what happens next? As the season continues, moments like these will likely add up, shaping the tone and direction of future episodes. Sometimes it's not about the loudest voice in the room, but rather the one who quietly notices the shift in dynamics before anyone else. Drew may have simply made an offhand comment, but in the Housewives world, even a casual observation can set the stage for deeper exploration. Viewers are now left wondering if Brit and Shamea will eventually acknowledge the vibe Drew mentioned. Will they talk it out directly? Or will this become one of those lingering tensions that simmers beneath the surface, affecting how they interact in group settings? Bravo fans know that no moment exists in isolation, everything said or unsaid eventually finds its way back into the spotlight. It's all part of what makes The Real Housewives of Atlanta such a layered and compelling show. In a franchise that thrives on real emotions, complex friendships, and shifting loyalties, the term weird energy is more than just a passing phrase. It's a possible signpost pointing toward what's to come. Whether that means a resolution, a confrontation, or something in between, remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Drew's instincts and intuition are now part of the unfolding narrative. With so much still ahead in season 16, fans will want to keep a close eye on how this particular situation develops. Subtle moments often lead to the biggest shifts. And as always, the Real Housewives of Atlanta delivers those moments when you least expect them. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to stick around as we continue to break down every twist and turn. We'll see you in the next one.